Welcome to a muzzled chat. Now, this episode is going to be different, so stay tuned. It's going to be one of a kind. I assure you that. We today are welcoming back David. David, how are you doing?
All right, brother. How are you?
Bro,
it's good to be back on.
I'm amazing. It's great to see you. It's great to have you back on Unmuzzled chat. David is undoubtedly doing big things, and I believe he is walking in the fruit of the Spirit. And I don't want to spoil alert too badly right here because we got important things to cover and whatnot, but I believe, I put it, with walking in the fruit of the Spirit, you are being guided, my brother, and I applaud you to reaching out for me, and on behalf of my well-being, your well-being, to unite and share a message with our listeners as a whole today. So I applaud you, brother. I'm really excited for this episode. That being said, it's been a minute. How have you been? How have your treatments been going? I know you mentioned that's what folks understand to a point, at least our loyal listeners, that they're starting to grasp that Lyme disease is like riding a freaking roller coaster. So even though we've been doing really good and it seems as though we've gained function back, we're still going to have our lulls. We're going to have our off days. And I feel a little bit of it today myself, but I know you were even frankly, hey, if you want to go another day, I'm in a little bit of a lull. So how you holding up?
Yeah, today is definitely a brain fog day. I've been doing really good. Everything's been good, except for about 6 weeks ago, my son got scarlet fever. And that's when things just kind of spurred back up for me. So I'm doing way better than I was last year when they thought I had ALS and when they thought, I was literally dying.
Right.
So I'm in a much better place. But like you said, I'm on a roller coaster just like you. But the roller coaster is going up constantly. But when it's still going up, but it's like this. You know what I mean? So you're getting better, but you still have, like you said, your downs, Well,
I'm glad to hear that you're tracking in the right direction. And it's really a blessing, as you know, when we're in the throes of it, that it seems like a long, steady progression, because until it steadied out for me, I was gravely concerned because as soon as things would feel good, at times it would near after that, I was worse off than it seemed ever before, so it's just great that there is light. There are things to get us out of those woods, so to speak,
Yeah, totally.
I owe some gratitude and thanks to you because with a recent episode about the Boy Scouts of America, like being dead, essentially just collapsing with the just evil infiltration, you were the one that sent me the link to, and that's what's so beautiful in this life. As soon as one door closes, another opportunity and another door seems to open. You're the one that sent me the link to this other group that you and your boy have in fact joined and been a part of. So I want to thank you for sending that my way. I'm curious to hear as to, how you've been liking that and tell us a bit about it.
So I've always wanted to do the Boy Scouts. I never got to do it with my father. And I always wanted to do that with my son. He's 5 now. But
That's awesome.
I just really wasn't happy with the things that were going on all around. Like everything wasn't the same as it always was for over 100 years. But I was just sitting on the computer one day and I saw this thing for trail life and it looked pretty cool. So we went to our first meeting. It's just like Boy Scouts. I mean, his last meeting was about knives and axes and like how to handle them. And, it's really, really cool. They have gun training. They have, it's the whole 9 yards. It's the same thing. It's based more on the Bible. I mean, they literally, you go to a church, there's a pastor who'll even talk with the kids about, they'll have a Bible study and everything. My son calls it Bible study, Bible class. He loves it though.
That's cool.
It's a lot of fun. Unfortunately, it ended for the summer. They're going to do a couple camping trips and stuff, but the bi-weekly meetings have stopped. So it'll start back up in September. It was really nice. I got to actually join. My son joined, and then I actually became a leader. And you have to go through the whole process. I had to take classes on, sex offending stuff, all that kind of stuff. So it was really in depth, and I had to get a background check through the state and everything. And they also have for girls, American Heritage Girls, I think it's called.
Okay.
It's an up and coming thing, and it's getting to be huge. So
that's awesome. What a breath of fresh air. That's obviously Boy Scouts of America has been tanking for some time, and it's really unfortunate because, my goodness, had a 114-year run, and I was a part of it. I happened to be an Eagle Scout, and I literally attribute more education, more value to what I've learned in that organization than our indoctrination public education system, if you
want to call it that. you mean the indoctrination system?
Right.
The public indoctrination system.
Yeah, I can read and write, and there's some social aspects to that. I'm sure that benefited me, and there's some parts about it that didn't. It's just life to an extent. But are we surprised? Evil has been so actively going after anything that's good, and it's we the people essentially that have become weak, I believe, intentionally being done and diminished to be passive, intolerant, allow these infiltrations to happen. And it's time to buck up and face the reflection in the mirror, I feel, on individual levels, and ask the whys. Why are we sitting back? Why are we tolerating this? This isn't acceptable. And find our strength. I think for a lot of men, it does even boil down to, you can see testosterone's tanking, general health is tanking. So, but what is attributing to causing that in your life? And I feel, especially as us men, up our resilience, and because we're built different, we wouldn't tolerate this crap. Okay.
That's exactly part of the problem, though, is we are tolerating it. I know so many people who are disgusted by the Boy Scouts, but they're still in the Boy Scouts. It's it's kind of frustrating because we're just tolerating it. We're allowing it. We're allowing this to happen. Not you and I specifically, but I'm talking people, humans. Humans are allowing this. And people always forget, we are the government. I can't get it. It just so frustrates me because people.
David, tell them, smack it in the
because it's these people are this is a law and this is the law, and I have to listen to this person. What are you talking about? If it's an illogical, you are the government.
If we could get organized, that's it. Yep. If we could get organized and just stand up, find our backbone, we could fix and rule out the corruption. That's ultimately what it boils down to. Instead of dogs chasing our tail over here, putting out this wildfire, because until we take out evil's infrastructure, they're just going to keep lighting fires till we're exhausted, right? We got to go after the arsonist, and then the wildfires will fizzle freaking out. I get sick and tired of, but I don't care. It's not going to stop me of people talking about, what crazy rabbit holes have you been down, or conspiracy theories. It's just have you done the research? There are so many avenues that lead to this two-tiered system, essentially a ruling class that is satanic and demonic and evil and doesn't value you or your children's lives. In fact, they will prey on your children. It's that bad. And they just want you kind of out of the way. They don't want you to be a threat, and they want to prey on your children. It's that bad. And we can't be afraid to do our due diligence and our research. Like, ignorance isn't bliss. That's why I view, David, and we're definitely a little sidetracked here, but it's all relevant. But I view the pandemic as the smoking gun, truly, because I view it that ruling class overextended its hand in such a way that it's a blessing. Terrific what took place, but it's a blessing because it made it very easy for us. Like, it exposed itself. Exactly. And to connect that dot.
No, so totally.
You choose the avenue, but ignorance, like, this is warfare. It's spiritual warfare at the root of it. It's good versus evil.
For me, this is nobody's ever said this, but this is just a theory. Did you ever think about this? With the pandemic, what group of people was not really affected by COVID? Children. Yeah. So It's almost like, was this thing made to take out the adults who were already, thinking on their own, and they can make these children how they want them? It's kind of like the Nazis when they went over to, Poland, and they were stealing the Polish children and bringing them back to Nazi Germany and indoctrinating them. I'm not saying that. It's just a theory.
It's a good point. No, it's a good point. It's something I believe there were multiple aspects to that pandemic. Like, there were layers where they benefited financially, they benefited by demoralizing and putting people in the boxes of fear, and gained more control, martial, all these things. But yeah, to your point, I mean, what did they get it down to? They got it down to the age of 5. They could administer this bioweapon jab in. Well, it's no secret. They prey on minors, but these sickos, it seems the younger the better for them. And if your jaw just hit the floor, like, what are they talking about? Like, for some people, they don't necessarily, especially the women, need to go down, that dark road, right? I feel us men are to more so do that. But even for a lot of men, I don't feel it's technically necessary if they're already on board, because for some, you don't have to see that level of evil in the darkness to see this ruling class, to see this two-tiered system of injustice, how they're infringing upon all these things, and they're already warring. They're already soldiered up, armored up, and they're shown up on the front lines. So it's for those that, hey, are still claiming ignorance and feel, what does it matter? Like, it's like, well, then go down that path. And you literally have to have I don't even know. Like, it's like, did you already sell your soul at that point? If that didn't have an impact on you, because it's crazy. But I digress. But it is kind of important. Like, it is that evil, because what we're going to actually dive into, and the real meat and potatoes behind this episode, was your intuition and what you felt impressed to reach out to me about and kick off this very episode. So with that being said, I want to talk about Lyme real quick. It's no secret, Lyme disease is horrific. It can kill you. It just more so makes you wish you were dead. Okay. And I just pulled up a quick little article about doctors' concerns. They have Dr. Robert Bransfield, a psychiatrist, has expressed his concern about the under-recognized patient population of individuals with Lyme disease who experience suicidal and homicidal tendencies. He emphasizes that this is an ignored problem that deserves greater attention. More doctors and colleagues, even students from the University agree with his assessment and state that suicide and homicidal tendencies in the Lyme disease patients are an ignored problem. So that being said, with what we're doing, like Unmuzzled Chat, we're trying to ensure a better tomorrow. We're trying to highlight, to fire up, so we don't just sit idly by till we're put into chains. We don't idly sit by and our children get preyed on. I want to fight against the suffering, the needless suffering, and put a stop. And it's through awareness on all these things and doing the research and identifying the threats so we can ensure a more utopia, kind of just blissful existence while we're here. So you reached out to me just the other day in a message stating, like, and this is where I feel like you've been doing good things. So on our end, we're trying to expose this two-tiered system so we can properly address it. And you've been doing a lot of exposure to Lyme disease. You've been building a really big following with your gifts and everything you're doing. So you're exposing a lot of things on your end. With that being said, it's no secret, and we will dive into some information with certain individuals that have gone up against evil, that have gone up against the corruption and these rulers, and all these certain things keep happening. Like people keep disappearing, ended up suicided, or dead mysteriously. And when you really step back, you not even step back, you just do enough of your freaking homework. It isn't coincidence. It's clear. So I just want to applaud you for being in the fruit of the Spirit, David, and following through on the intuitions you felt, because in your message here, it stated that this had weighed on your heart for a couple days. But the day you sent this message, just the other day, you basically expressed to me that you felt like we ought to do an emergency podcast, you and I, and that you couldn't really discuss it on this social media platform. So we did it on a private call. And I just want to thank you for following your intuition. I feel not enough of us these days are doing that, are listening to that. That in a huge way, like, is how we're failing ourselves, you know? In the big picture, do I view you or I as big fish with big targets to come after, as mortal threats to the great infrastructure? I'm like, nah, not necessarily. There's obviously ones out there with millions that, but then again, a lot of those individuals have been swatted. They've had legal come after them. They've had a lot of things, you know. There's even TikTokers that have trended enough where they've gotten scares from the FBI Gestapo now to try to put them in their place and stop doing what they're doing because they're starting to have an impact. So it is scaling down. They're fighting on all levels to keep certain information from coming out.
So,
but go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, but I was just saying, like, you brought up another very good point, which maybe you were just about to roll into, that there's bigger fish to fry. I like what you said. Do you want to talk about how evil doesn't care, and evil's going after all of us?
Yeah. So the Bible specifically says that, you know, the devil doesn't, he attacks each person individually on their own personal level. So he's attacking you, James. He's attacking me, David, personally. And from birth, he knows that we're going to be strong. So it may have been right from birth, giving us, you know, traumatized childhood or whatever to make us weak. So we may be small fish in a sense, but I mean, when I first started putting up I make music videos. I do karaoke. I sing, you know, popular songs that are, you know, were hits 20, 30 years ago, grunge music, stuff like that. And when I first started putting them up back in December, and I started doing this because with my ALS, I was losing my voice. And people had told me that had heard me sing that you should sing in front of everybody. And I never done it. So I did it one day, and it was, people really liked it. So in December, once I started getting healed from my Lyme's disease, I was like, well, maybe I can use this to get my story out. So I started singing. You know, back then in December, January, February, even March, I would get maybe 8 likes on my things. You know, a couple of people liked it. A couple of people here and there would say, hey, nice job. I mean, just in the past couple of weeks, I mean, I went from 8 to 10 likes to, I mean, I don't know if you can actually see that, but I mean, you got 100 and something, couple hundred. And then just my last,
Man, you've been putting in the work. I love it.
Just my last, you see my last one, I think that's what, 7,000.
Wow.
Can you read that?
Yeah.
7,000 views, I think. And then I think the one before it was 6,000. Are you able to read that or no?
I imagine after I will. It does look like it's coming through pretty clear.
All right. So my point is, just between my last 3 videos, I'm almost up to 50 videos. So just my last 3 videos, I'm up to almost 15,000 people saw them. So I have 15,000 views just in the last 3 videos. So we may be small fish, but we're growing fast. And, you know, day to day, you don't know how quick people are going to be seeing you, me, and my 7,500 like views might skyrocket to 75,000 before I know it.
Right.
And I'm not anticipating that, but in my opinion, just 15,000 alone, that's a lot of people out in the world saw my video. And my video, ironically, goes along with what you said. So,
because you have messages tied into every song, everything you're doing. There's intention in what you're doing. You're not just there wearing a clown hat, entertaining.
That's what I always tell everybody, because they always say, why are you singing? Like, are you trying to become famous? Would you going on American Idol or something? I have no intentions on joining a band. I'm doing it because people do like my singing for the most part. And it brings people to the board, and then I can share my message. That's my whole point. I don't want children to go through what you and I have gone through. You know, I started at age 10 with this, and this is just nonsense. I literally just talked to somebody in my neighborhood whose son was gaslighted. I mean, he's 5 years old, same age as my son. He was gaslighted for a month. And the doctor said, it's just a virus. It's just a virus. Send him home. He'll get better. He'll get better. He'll get better. A month goes by. He still has a real high fever. And then he starts getting like encephalitis problems where he's getting confused, and he didn't even know who his father was at one point. Finally, they rushed him down to Children's Hospital, and he was finally diagnosed with Lyme's disease. You know, just as well as me, that's too late.
Yeah.
That's too late. But you were talking about the suicide thing right there. And it's kind of funny you brought that up, because my very last video, which was Audio Slave Like a Stone, which is a very, very famous song, my message was Lyme's disease and mental health awareness. Chris Cornell explained this song as longing for a better place when you die, and the fear of always doing the right thing but going to hell anyways. And then I put, the number 1 cause of death for Lyme's disease and mental health is suicide. They long for for that happiness, but leave everyone with the pain.
Wow. You're doing such amazing things. And what I like best about your music endeavors is with the messages you're putting out, there's somehow a translation to the song choice you make. Like, and this is your gift now playing in, where the passion you have and the way you're expressing through music is connecting in a cool way to the message you're sending out there. And I think that's the magic of what you're doing, and that is moving people, and that's bringing awareness, and you're doing good things for the Lyme community and many things, and we appreciate that.
I appreciate that, because, you know, when I first started doing it, I almost gave up many times. And this is, you keep thanking me, but I have to thank you, because you having me on this podcast the first time and connecting with you and talking to you regularly. I mean, at this point, I consider you a friend. I mean, you really pushed me to keep going, because making these videos, people nowadays don't know how to talk about emotions and problems and stuff. So when I talk about these really deep, dark, emotional things, it seems to scare people. And I think it scares them because they don't know how to react to this. Nobody knows how to. That's why suicide is an epidemic, because people don't know how to talk about it. They don't know how to say, hey, let's talk about this. Let's figure out why this person's suicidal. Usually when somebody's suicidal, they just kind of like, all right, let's just, let's let him be, kind of thing.
Our society has gotten it so wrong. It's been chalked up as like a mental thing, to where people don't want to be classified as that, like insane. We're mental. So people exclude themselves. They'll recluse. And that is the worst thing that could happen. They got to have safe places that isn't just going to want to send you to shrinks and things of that nature, because our miraculously created, God-given bodies are beautiful, magnificent, whatever you want to call it, but we're made in God's image, and it's a beautiful thing. So for me, it's like, I think the safer, better route to address like suicidal thoughts and depression and things to that nature is that something is ailing that individual. Something is ailing that individual. It's not just some mental disorder, and for that to be the initial diagnosis on any of it, yes, even let's say we exhausted everything and then it led to, a classification of mental disorder, I believe that percentage would be so low, like it wouldn't even be much of a thing at all. But to deny that not existing, I feel, okay, there's probably just some people that hit bonked their head too hard, or at birth, had disability or something to that nature. But the majority of us, just like you see with Lyme disease, as the mold toxicities get addressed, and metals and plastics and the spirochete and the co-infections, what happens? We have Lyme rage, we have lack of patience, and very emotionally charged, and like depressive, suicidal, bipolar, all sorts of people would just want to classify right out the gate as a mental disorder. But when you address the root of the issue, what happens? Like, all those symptoms go away. It goes away. So what is mental disorder about that?
So from my last podcast with you, I told my whole story about how, in my teens, I started with the depression, the anxiety, the mood swings, the psychosis, and the suicidal thoughts. And then at age 25, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. They don't tell you, and this is probably word for word, you could probably go back to the last one. They don't tell you, all right, you have bipolar disorder, you have the mood swings, you have the traits for it. Here's your medicine. Go live off this for the rest of your life, is basically what they do. Here's Zyprexa, here is lithium, here is Seroquel, here's Depakote, whatever it is, they just shove it down your throat. What the system needs to do, and of course it won't, because Big Pharma wouldn't make money anymore, but what they have to do is exactly what you are saying, to a T. They have to address what the issue is. So I'm not against medicine. I'm not against medicine at all. Sometimes we need medicine, even anti-anxiety medicine, to get us to a point of being able to think rationally to start healing, whatever it is, whether it's a spirochete or a illness or a bacteria or a mold, or if it's just childhood trauma, or, trauma from a PTSD or something. There's a root cause to what is happening.
I can respect where you're coming from with potential pharmaceutical medicines, given I'm not a doctor. However, I know there's breakthroughs. There's things out there that are giving immediate relief to individuals. Like, for example, I don't know any pharmaceutical. Let's just say someone's depressed, struggling, thinking about suicide. I don't know any pharmaceutical that will give not even a 10% of as much reprieve as if you threw this individual in, what do they call those? Cold water tanks, or basically an ice river. The immediate response of someone climbing out of that ice river is crazy endorphins. Depression, gone. Suicidal threats, gone. Now that's a moment, right? Like, but it's causing something natural, right? A response. Like, you're just alert, you're awake, things are vivid. So there's natural remedies that can be immediate. And I believe we are on the forefront of breaking like frequency therapies, things to that nature, which would far outweigh the initial immediate benefits and longevity benefits. Dare I even say cure to a lot of these issues. Why? Because it's essentially eradicating the issues that's causing the disorder, you know? So it's nice to have an open mind and really kind of just, it's a great time. Yeah.
Just like you said, you respect what I said. I can actually respect what you're saying, because thinking about what you're saying, every medicine they ever put me on didn't help me. It, like you said, it didn't help with the endorphins or anything. It didn't make me happy. None of them did. They just, they make you numb. They make you not care, you know, more than anything.
Right.
I was watching this thing about Prozac, and how Prozac, when it first came out on the market, it was tested. And they did like I don't remember if it was a 30 or 90-day test or whatever. And in the very first stages of it, 2 weeks, whatever it was, it actually worked. It was calming people down. It was helping them. Was it a placebo thing? Who knows? But anyway, people were getting the effects of it. But after that, the spike went up, and people were actually getting worse than when they first came into the office.
Right.
And Germany was the first country to say, we don't want this. We don't want this thing. And America, of course, was like, we'll take it. And they started making ads and everything. And that's just how America is. So to this day, Germany it has accepted Prozac, but they have to have like severe labels on them, like may cause suicide and like all kinds of stuff.
Which is crazy. That, like, think about that. Absorb that for a second. A thing that's supposed to help suicidal thoughts and depression, on the warning label itself, may cause the very thing. Like, that's the world we live in. That's the solutions we have. I'm telling you, that's where I'm just excited, because I do know, like, it's just so cool to be on the other side of things, because I was there. I was there where I just was telling everyone I'm white knuckling. It's more than a grind. Like, I am white knuckling this thing. Like, I'm clinging on the edge of a cliff, and anyone that couldn't effectively show up for me in a way, like, I couldn't grant them grace at all for not knowing my situation, I'd pretty much attack in a way like, really, I'm on the edge of this cliff and you're just kind of flicking my fingers, you know, is how I would view it, that they're literally just making it that much hard, but they weren't grasping. So anyway, there's a lot kind of to dive in there. Oh, wow. It would be cool to have more and more discussions on this, especially with you, David. I feel like we could bring to light as to what would be more effective for people to show up on behalf of people that are in that state, you know, like maybe just on our personal levels. And that could lead to, I don't know, saving some folks. I know we're all a little different, but it's really, it like kind of just boils down to seeking to understand where people are at, and then doing more research as to Lyme disease is such an unknown disease that it causes these things. That in and of itself, that I view the diagnosis I've gotten as a blessing, because amidst all of that struggle and being there was like, okay, now there's a path. I don't know what it looks like, but there's a path to go on, and it just breathed just enough hope to go on that path. So we got to educate ourselves more. We got to get the awareness out and help end this epidemic of suicide and depression.
So I'd be more than happy to do an entire episode on that, because actually
That'd be cool.
That's my passion. Lyme's disease is, I'm big on that now because, like you said, that brought me on to my final path. But
Right.
Suicide is really my main objective, mental health and suicide. And I really like to focus on suicide and childhood bullying and stuff like that, because I think that's the biggest thing that's actually really affecting this entire world is, mental health and stuff.
Right.
So, and going on what you said about the medicine and stuff, I just took the medicine for years. And it wasn't until I found psychotherapy, which is what we could talk about in the next episode a lot about, that I really found my root cause. It was trapped emotions and trauma. And you go to regular therapy, and I did that for years, and it really did nothing for me.
Right.
Psychotherapy is just completely different, whole new ball game kind of thing.
Something to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the works of Sigmund Freud. I mean, he's one of the greatest, people of all time when it comes to that kind of stuff. But kind of going along, actually, if you want to continue what we were originally talking about with the suicide, why I called you and stuff.
Let's not beat around the bush anymore, David.
So going on with psychotherapy, we'll start right from the beginning. We have a lot to discuss current events that are going on, but this has been happening for as far back as we could probably never even know. But just as far back with the psychotherapy, I was telling you about Wilhelm Reich. He was a student of Sigmund Freud over in Europe. And during the Holocaust, the beginning of the Holocaust, it was actually before the war, when the Nazis were starting to come to power, he decided to leave the country. He didn't want any part of that. So he came to America. And his works, because he took Sigmund Freud's work and he expanded on it. And he had orgone therapy machines, all kinds of things that were basically, sadly, things we use nowadays, frequencies, chi, stuff like that. It's all common practice stuff now. But back then, the FDA claimed it to be a hoax and fake. And realistically, it was because he was healing people. He was actually physically healing people, and they didn't like that. So they actually took him to court multiple times, and they banned him from using his stuff. Wow. And then one day he was on a train, and he refused to stop. He just kept doing it. He didn't care. He was a real freedom fighter for the people. And one day he was on a train. They stopped the train. They got on the train. They literally arrested him. They took all his books, his machines, everything, burned them. Wow. And he spent, I think it was like less than a year he spent in jail, and he ended up dying there. Wow. So that's where kind of I called you to message you, and then we ended up talking, was because when you're doing a powerful thing and you refuse to kneel down to anybody other than God, sometimes things happen to you.
Right.
And I'm not beating around the bush. I'm just saying it nicely now. We can bluntly say it in other words. But like you said, there's current situations that are going on, and a lot of people are mysteriously dying. And even though we're small fish in the pot right now, the devil attacks every individual person. So,
well, the reality of our situation, David, with what we're doing and considering our past, just is, I mean, I could tell the listeners, based on some messages, I'm sure, because they have the whole beehives, they call them, and such, where they are gathering so much information. They currently, admittedly, don't even have the technology to access it all, but they're gathering it all, banking on they will get the AIs, they will get the information to where they can access everything on a grand scale. So anyway, what I'm getting at is I have messages. You know what? Even easier said. We've correlated with Lyme disease suicide's a big thing. So with what we're trying to do, exposing things, it would be very easy for the evil to basically take us out and chalk things up as we were disturbed individuals. And that's what I was getting at with the messaging, because even based on some things I've said, like, I'm done, I've had enough, I throw in the towel. That's in the years past, right? And I got to make it crystal clear to my listeners, to you, I am not suicidal. I have everything to live for. In fact, for the first time in my life, I feel I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And I haven't ever had this fire or this passion to anything at all in this life other than what I'm doing here today, trying to expose evil and basically this spiritual war playing out in the flesh.
I'm on your page 100%. I'm exactly the same.
What are you looking at?
These baby deer are running around my backyard chasing each other.
Oh, that's cool, man.
So I'm sorry.
That's really cool.
It's so cute, though. All right. So anyway, I'm on the same exact page with you. I mean, I literally haven't had a suicidal thought since 2011. So this isn't like some new thing. It's not like, oh, he's treating his Lyme's disease and, it's just going to be a one-off thing. I mean, it's been 13 years since I've had any kind of suicidal thought. I mean, I have, like you said, I have everything to live for. I have a 5-year-old son, I mean, I want to see him get married and I want to see him graduate high school and I want to buy his first car and fix it up with him. I have so many dreams, and that's why, like you said, it would be so easy to do something to one of us because, oh, he was a nut. He was suicidal. He tried to kill himself 2011,
He was on mental pills or something, or had mental evaluations, or all those things. You're right. But to bring a credibility to like what we're saying here, it's crazy. This and expose more of this two-tiered system, guys. Just like how we were talking about earlier, how we've been weak and we got to face the individuals facing back in the mirrors. I don't understand as to why we're accepting the outcomes of all of these strange deaths. Like individuals around the Clintons that all had the 2 in the back of the head treatment, which cannot even individually be done, but yet it gets ruled out as a suicide. We really need to take a moment here to grasp something. I get it. It can seem very coincidental with certain individuals and exposing certain things, inventing certain things, creating cures to certain things. All these coincidences, very mysterious situations, very weird deaths, unexplained deaths, unexplained disappearances. But grasp, so many of these individuals, so many knew they were under threat, spoke out socially in their immediate circles and also to the world of these threats. They went to grave lengths. Pretty much what else could they have done? Lengths in expressing that they themselves are not suicidal, that if anything were to happen to them, it would solidify they were murdered. So frankly put, so many people said they weren't suicidal, they got suicided. So many people said they were healthy and they died of some weird thing in these situations under threat. We know better. We know better. And that's where I highlight, we can't afford to be weak on this front. Because this in and of itself is one of those avenues you could take. How many people being murdered are we going to allow before we take appropriate freaking action? Please sit on that. We can do better, and we must do better. It's just no secret, right? Like, you go do your research, and after not that long, how much can you chalk up to coincidence? Like, we know better, right? And so I just pulled up a few different individuals. Rashad Buttar, I might be butchering his name, and I apologize, but he had a very strange death. He was on the front lines during the pandemic, a very educated, licensed physician. He got deemed a conspiracy theorist and all these things from all these sources. In my eyes, he's vindicated. Everything he spoke out on and claimed regarding the bioweapon jab, he was right. He was spot on. But they labeled him. They slandered his name. They did all these things. But before his death, he claimed that he was poisoned, stating that he had been given a substance containing 200 times the amount of what was in the vaccine. Shortly after an interview with the CNN in late 2021. And this was reported by the Daily Star, and it wasn't too long after he died. And conveniently, he died just before a very big conference that a lot were saying he was bringing the smoking gun to the conference, that more than likely would have led to millions not getting this shot. So I don't view this as coincidence. I mean, he was 57 years old, and let's see. Yeah, he was going to speak out, anti-vax advocate. He did a lot of great things. I view this man as a freaking hero. And to this day, they want to say false claims and misinformation, that Buttar had made several false claims about the COVID-19 vaccine, including, you tell me if this is false, claiming that the vaccine is a means for mass genocide, saying that the vaccine killed more people than COVID-19, promoting conspiracy theories about the vaccine, such as connections between 5G cell tower networks and chemtrails, and all of that. It's all part of it. And there's other doctors entirely exposing this now. I guess in conclusion, regarding his death, to this day, his death remains unknown. And in my eyes, it's clear. He posed a threat to a narrative that they were fighting tooth and nail, calling it conspiracy theory, calling it misinformation, but now we can see. And now, by their own admission, it's the information's getting out, and it is crystal clear. So there's ones pretty high up, but let's just connect a few more dots. Like, to your point, let's just play this clip. We played it before here, but it's a quick it's almost 3 minutes actually. But this guy does a whole combination. And this may not be the vaccine related, but it's important because, like I was saying, you choose the angle, whether it's the corruption through the talking media heads, even entertainment, sports, Hollywood, or through the corruption in the government, you start connecting any of that, or the pedophilic rings, it leads to the same freaking place. So with that being said, let's give this a listen.
Let's play a game. I'm about to give you a bunch of random situations, and you can tell me how many random coincidences the world is full of. So this is Ari to Go. He patented technology on free energy. He was headed to the airport to go meet some investors, but he never made it to his flight because he was found dead in his car. That's random. This is Stefan Marinov. He is the leader of the European free energy movement. In 1997, he had a major breakthrough, and as they were working on the prototype, he was found dead. What? Yeah, apparently he fell out of a window. This is Dr. John Mullen. He is a nuclear physicist that worked for one of the largest military contractors in the world. Apparently, he discovered something really big in the realm of energy, but unfortunately, before he could come out with this information, he died from arsenic poisoning. But don't worry, his girlfriend was the primary suspect. She was actually found dead in her apartment as well. They didn't go after any other suspects. Case closed. This right here is Dmitry Petronov. He invented a plasma battery that powered his 2-story house for 14 months. One day he went to go get bread from a bakery and was never seen again. Zachary Warfield was also working on a plasma battery. He actually met with Dmitry a couple of times where they would exchange notes. He mysteriously died in a boating accident in Washington, D.C. Eugene Malov was an expert physicist in cold fusion. He claimed to have a working prototype of the free energy device, but the day before he was going to go public, he was beaten to death. That's so random. Rory Johnson invented a cold fusion motor that generated over 500 horsepower. The Department of Energy took a restraining order against technology so he could never publicize it, and you're never going to guess what happened to him. Everyone who knew him said he was super healthy, had no health issues, but he died mysteriously. Mark Tomian was awarded a patent for a zero-point energy system. After he developed his working prototype, he was found mysteriously dead, and the crazy thing is his research is missing. What? Or you might recognize this one. This is Stan Thompson. He developed a car that ran off of water. After developing his working prototype, he went to go to lunch with 2 investors so that he could gain money to push this technology out there. He died during lunch. His last words were, "I've been poisoned." Nikola Tesla believed he could make free energy. And all of his research was funded by, guess who? J.P. Morgan. When he claimed to have figured it out and he wanted additional capital so that he could expand his inventions, J.P. Morgan shut him down. I'm sure it has nothing to do with the fact that J.P. Morgan owned General Electric, he owned copper mines, he owned rubber mills. Anyways, the reason why the world has so much inequality, the reason why things are so expensive, it has nothing to do with the fact that we keep inventing technology that can help people, but we suppress it. Anyways, I don't know. What do you guys think? Isn't that crazy? What coincidences? The world is a weird place.
Yeah, we know what's going on there. But just like Rashid, they can't allow, they invested so much into that pandemic. One individual with credible information, like he had the smoking gun, like it was irrefutable, indisputable evidence bringing to the table that would have exposed it as a fraud it was. Just like the gentleman that created the PCR test also died, saying it was a ineffective way of testing for things because you could ramp up the cycles to basically pull anything out of anything. The proof of the defectiveness in the testing blows up the pandemic in and of itself. There was no pandemic. It was defective testing. The most is I've searched regarding individuals and being strangely suicided when they're essentially whistleblowing and exposing evil, like this infrastructure and connecting. That they really don't tolerate is anyone that exposes the elite pedophile ring. And the list is incredibly long. And when you look into the actual data, the information's that the specific stories where individual after individual is stating and claiming, like, look, they are threatening me. I am not suicidal and I am in full bill of health. I guess that's where we could even get more in depth. I do not take drugs. I take ones specifically for Lyme disease. My nutritional levels in my blood minus this horrific disease, I'm healthy. I just have, like you were saying, some off days, a little bit of brain fog, a little bit of slower. Doesn't mean anything negative. It's just like, man, this sucks. Like, I'm not operating as much as I would like today. That's about as bad as it's getting. I really feel like that was the greatest blessing to me when I felt God pushing me in the direction of doing this podcast. I knew in that moment, like, it was crazy. It brought me to tears emotionally, because as I was researching all this, I had a great concern. I was like, because I knew in order to be successful everything was hinging on my ability to function, my ability to communicate. I had just lost that with this freaking illness. I was scared, but as I had confirmation that like this is a path God wanted me to go on, brought me to tears because I knew what that meant. That he, as long as I'm doing things right, I mean, I'm a human, that he wouldn't send me on this path to fail, you know, for that to come back and me be ill again. So it was just this overwhelming feeling I had of just gratitude, knowing that I was out of all of that. So no alcohol, no tobacco, no freaking anything crazy. I am always present. I'm always in, you know, and eating crazy healthy, trying to just bet every single object. I don't have the wild hairs in my bones anymore. I still ride dirt bikes and such, but it's not, you know, I don't have that wild hair anymore. I ride with some younger riders and I'm like, nope, not going to do that. Sorry. Like, and I have no problem saying that now. Where, you know, younger, dumber James was the first one to do it, but not anymore, you know? So
I'm on the same page. That's why I'm laughing. I'm exactly the same place.
So it's one of them things. I know you've taken precautionary steps. I know you have your information spread out. You got crazy documentation from all your history, everything. I've been compiling things. I'm dispersing that. So essentially, if evil's freaking stupid enough to continue and try to take us out, vindication, like it should be crystal freaking clear to people. You think you're not touchable, you know, at the point more and more start getting taken out. Like, what more do we need to expose for people to understand this? Like, I'm not a hypochondriac. I believe you to be entirely sane. You know, you just had some intuition. You had this gut feeling and you expressed to me on the phone calls like, James, more than likely it's nothing. But by doing this could give us a level of even protection, but with the feeling I felt, and this is something that relates to me because we all get in that position with having that feeling so profound, so strong. I just knew if I didn't act on that right then and there, God forbid something were to happen to you or I or just anything. It's just like, I have to answer that call. Right. And there's calls I haven't answered before and things of that nature. And it's so important that we tap into like do I go there with God? I mean, you know, maybe in the ending clip, it'll help make that clearer, but he's our greatest champion and he will give us the gift of discernment and protection, and just his will truly is better than anything I can come up with. And it's just been such a blessing.
So going on what you're saying, not to cut you off, but
no, you're good.
I mean, honestly, this is honestly how I feel. I've been singing my whole life to myself, and my wife would hear me and stuff. And I always knew that I had a decent voice. But when I sing, I don't feel like it's me singing. I feel like it's God moving me to sing. And when I write those things out, it's God telling me what to write. You know, like I'm not saying that in like a schizophrenic way, like I'm hearing him. It's just I feel his presence guiding me every step of everything I'm doing. It's almost like I'm not even doing it. He's using me as a physical human body to do his work.
That's really cool. Well, biblical, it speaks of praising in the form of song.
True.
So you're like tapping in. That's really a cool thing. I experienced that. And that's where I can see and feel like your gift there personally. But my gift on the vocal side of things, it's like I'm better off on the receiving end of that, I feel. Because if I go into a church, man, I'd have to have pockets full of earplugs for all those around me. You know, I wouldn't want to get sued for blowing out eardrums. Just don't have that gift, brother.
Well, it's kind of funny because just today, like just talking about how God's leading me and stuff, and I feel like every day he tells me basically what song to put up. And there's many multiple aspects to it. But like just tomorrow alone, I just have this overwhelming feeling to post this song, and it kind of goes along with what we're talking about, which is Third Day, I Need a Miracle. I don't know if you know that song, but it's about a guy who goes out into the woods and he's going to end it all because he lost his job. He's got no money and he's going to kill himself. And his wife finds his note and she just hits the floor and starts praying. And he's just about to kill himself. And he turns on the radio and he hears that one song that changes everything in his head. And he turns that truck around and goes back home. And it's like,
wow.
Going along with my music, I literally sing everything from Christian music to, I mean, hard, heavy metal stuff. Like I haven't played it yet, but like stuff like Megadeth even. I mean, like anything and in between from Alice in Chains to everything. And my aunt contacted me one time and she said, David, she goes, you really need to be using your voice to, glorify God. I mean, you have such a good voice and you're a Christian. You should be glorifying God with your voice and be singing Christian music and stuff. I said, I am. I understand that I'm singing Megadeth and Alice in Chains, this dark music, but it's bringing people to my message. If I'm going to sit there and just sing Christian music, I'm only preaching to Christians because those are the only people that are going to be listening to it. Why am I going to be preaching to Christians? Christians are already Christians. Why am I preaching to them? So I'm preaching to people who probably aren't Christians in most cases. I mean, people who, maybe don't even believe in God, or maybe atheists, agnostic, whatever. And they're reading my messages. And after they read them over and over again, maybe if I just help one person to come to Christ through a secular song, then I won. Then it worked. And I've prayed about this many times because I feel that way. Like, God, am I singing these songs that are really deep and evil? Like, is this bad? And I just feel like he's saying, no, these are the people you need to reach.
Right.
Jesus didn't go out and preach over and over and over again to people who were already following him. He spoke to them, he guided them too, but he went out to the people who didn't know him.
Right. Wow. That's powerful. It goes right along lines with the whole message of why we're even having this conversation. Because you really think about it, the devil does not want to lose his hold he has on those that you're going to be planting that seed in.
Exactly.
Hence why you felt, well, shoot, if you're going to be addressing some of his soldiers or something, then it just brings to light as to why you would feel inclined, with that type of intuition. That's why I praise you for taking the initiative on that. I get that some people will be just kind of put off on this. They'll be like, oh, it's like just one of those things. It's better safe than sorry, and take a step back. Look at what's happening. We have a finite amount of time here, and it seems questionable as to, wow, what's going to happen in the world entirely. Big things are happening, and we don't have the crystal ball. We don't know. So in my eyes, there's just nothing better for us to really engage in, like do our own seeking as to understanding why we're even here. And it's biblical. And in the last clip I'd love to play on this episode, this gentleman goes into that. You seek God, he will answer you. You will get answers. Like it might not be immediate, but there's nothing more worthy of your time. But the threats are great. So you connect the dots. I mean, everyone at this point pretty much knows how many people, hundreds, like how many people have disappeared just being close to the Clintons. Okay. And also not a coincidence. There's just so much on it. And I don't really want to dive into it. There was even a pretty good documentary right here called Suicided on Rumble. Maybe I'll just throw some of the links in for those that want to do a little more deep dives. But once again, that's not for everyone. So if you're in the know, for me, I feel like it's a blessing to live in this era, this time, because I genuinely feel throughout all human history it's never been so like black and white. You could see evil and the devil's handiwork, and that should draw you to the light. Because if you just get consumed by that darkness, then you're going to be preyed upon and damaged and traumatized. And, so you got to gravitate towards the light. And then that's where you're going to find that peace and breakthrough and just handing everything over, and salvation comes. It's really a beautiful thing.
I personally wouldn't put anything past the government. I mean, there's really nothing that you could tell me that if you showed me facts, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, that's impossible. I even speculate certain things like, you can cut this out if you want, because this is total speculation. And I'm kind of digging a little bit of a hole right here, what I'm about to say. But even people like Jim Carrey, I mean, this guy, I know he has mental issues. I understand that he is bipolar, just like I did, supposedly. I mean, he was this larger than life, goofy guy for 40, 50 years. And
totally different.
And then he became a big advocate against food industry and, all the things that the government is doing and pushing to autism and all the shots and all the things. He became a big voice on that. I mean, he was going on talk shows and stuff. And then all of a sudden, his girlfriend commits suicide. And supposedly the suicide note said it was because she couldn't take living with him anymore. And now where's Jim Carrey? I mean, he is completely off the map. I mean, a total recluse. You almost wonder if, again, you can cut all this out, but you almost wonder if something happened to her to shut him up.
Yeah. I remember coming across a while back, and once again, speculation. I don't know. Nothing's provable, but there was apparently like messaging that went out when there was exposure through the pedophilic rings in Hollywood, where I can't remember if he was reaching out to Tom Hanks or someone. I guess this is very important information to know specifics on, so take it for a grain of salt, but he was expressing concern as though he was going to go down with this ship. So I think it's crazy. I can only imagine, being in that corrupt industry, is you see this bubbly character, this happy character, and then you see that shift. He is not the same man, even. It
was instantaneous too, instantly.
Right. Like you could see the sadness, the brokenness in him, even as a top tier actor, right? You could see the brokenness still. And that's where I'm like, man, did they get to him at like certain parties and levels of influence and certain things? And that's where maybe, I mean, obviously there's a lot. This gal here, so she was Playboy model, uncovers elite pedophile ring found dead. But this one was really wild when you look into the details on it. But then you look into Isaac Cappy, and then you look into a situation like that. Like, there's just so much within that, even one area. I mean, you look at Disney, and you look at, I forget even that one gentleman's name that ran those kid shows. There's just so much evil. It's freaking disgusting. Like, what are we doing sitting back and supporting that, and then feeding that poison even to our children? Have we lost our sanity? It's easy to just chalk things up as a conspiracy theorist and then like go about things. But my freaking goodness, we can't be ignorant. We got to rule all this out. And once again, it all ties into a ruling class where it's trickling down, all this woke agenda, all these things, and trying to normalize pedophilia, that there's nothing grassroots about it. It's intentionally being done.
Yep.
My biggest call on the dark side of things is, where are the real men? Because they can't take care of us all. It is literally fifth generation warfare. And we've said it a lot of times on this platform. We'll continue to say it till we're actually seeing this shift.
as you and I, as Christians, and anybody else who's listening to this as a Christian, has to understand that in Revelations, it talks about the end of times, and it talks about how there will be a time period on this earth in itself. We may even be in it. We don't even know it. But anyway, it's going to be a war of good versus evil, and God will be here with his angels fighting. And it says directly, if you believe the Bible, it says directly, God will prosper. Right. He will win, and he will send Lucifer back down to hell.
Right.
And for eternity to burn. So no matter what, and no matter how hard we have it and how hard we fight, our voices are the sword that he called us upon, to fight this evil. We use our voice. We don't actually literally have a sword. I have no intentions of hurting anybody physically, but in the end, he's going to win. So
I guess that's what it was boiling down to, me asking the men to pick up the sword and fight, essentially, metaphorically, spiritually, on behalf of their family, because like 5th generation warfare, it is just as dangerous as traditional warfare. In fact, it's more so dangerous because it's like under the radar happening versus seeing bombs and missiles and things like that. And it's not men all fighting war on a distant battlefield. Like, our women and our children are literally being targeted as we speak, from all sorts of different warfare, from poisonings and the food, water, everything we've talked about. And biowarfare is no joke. Frequency warfare is no joke. The psychological warfare is no joke. Yeah.
Well, that was my post just the other day. It says, if you stay silent in this war between good and evil, your life might be easier, but your children's won't.
Ooh, I love that. Yes.
And that we are called to us, and that's the problem with the generations behind us, in my opinion. They just went on life and just moved on and did what the government told them to do, and they just obeyed and indoctrinated, and they told us to, and we're waking up to it. And if we would have continued going down that road, our children's lives would be absolute misery. I mean, so we're the voice of the future of changing what is happening.
Right.
And the government has to remember, like I said at the very beginning, we're the government. And they also have to remember, it was literally farmers who took on an entire army and destroyed them. It can happen.
Yes.
They look at us as we're these people, that we are beneath them. We are pawns, and we are beneath them, and they are above us. We have to listen to them. It's like they don't understand that it was farmers. They literally left their families, and they went out into the woods and made their own ammo. Like, they weren't supplied ammo by the king. They made their own ammo.
The thing is, you had cowardice individuals, I'm sure, even then, but they couldn't ignore or deny what was taking place. They either had the courage to show up or the cowardice to run.
Yep.
I think with this age, there's this gray area people are happy and content in staying in. And that's why they run with the talking points of conspiracy theories and things like that, because they're trying really hard to stay ignorant to what in fact is going on around them. And that's why it's so important. In an information age, we source information, because as you do that, then when you're being honest with yourself, it's just like that farmer. It's like, do you have the courage to face the reality of today, or are you going to have the cowardice and run? Right. So that is essentially, to sum up, the opportunities we all have. I hope we made it clear enough and added some value to some of that. Truthfully, that's what it boils down to. And I pray and hope people seek that information. Now, I get with the other warfare and strategies that have happened, Lyme disease being one of them, that diminishes our state to even in our abilities to make these connections, because we end up in the suck and suffering so gravely. We got to focus on, we are 110% in on our health. I mean, literally, there were times we were so vulnerable, a toddler could have taken us out. Right.
Yep.
So like that's intentional warfare. So when I see people riding that gray area, in my eyes, that is proof of a diminished state. Might not be Lyme disease. Maybe it's just the poisonous McDonald's foods. Maybe, all that preservatives, and they're just shopping in the middle aisles of those grocery stores, the box stores that are funding BlackRock and so they're supporting, they've fallen prey to just everything, the full corrupt, debted system and infrastructure and a tyrannical government. Just they're freaking robots at this point, just obeying. I think that's just really where it starts for people, is personal accountability, facing the mirror. And at the point, it's overwhelming, it's challenging, it seems like, we're going to lose and you want to run, then there's personal steps that need to be had, right? Because here you are, David, leading by example in the suck still, facing Lyme disease. You are a freaking warrior. It's like you've already gotten a few wounds on those battlefields, but you're still showing up every day. And I see you getting stronger every day. So that is inspiration, my brother. And you're inspiring me. I'm sure you're going to be inspiring a lot of the listeners. Keep it up. Keep up what you're doing, because this is exactly the alternate economy we're trying to create here, where we're supporting each other. And it's just like that rising tide, rising all ships,
I do want to make one thing clear, because
Yes.
we have to watch what we say, because in many aspects of it, I have no intentions on going out and committing any crimes or trying to physically take down the government. My taking down the government and exposing them is just vocal.
Right.
Do you understand
Using
where
your
I'm going with
First Amendment right.
Yeah, I'm doing nothing illegal.
All rights.
I don't want anybody coming to my front door, knocking on it, saying that I'm doing, I'm threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. I'm speaking truth.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I mean, I'm not afraid to go steps further and speak out on the Constitution as I know it. At the point we have an oppressive government body, we would be derelict in our duties as citizens to not abolish that infiltrated government. That's what I feel. And personally, how do we do that? Well, we can assemble in a way where we get state representatives that will hear us out, that will so we could clean house on local levels with our voices being heard, with a level of unification. And then on state levels, we could start going after anyone that creates resistance through legal freaking means. I would hate to see it. I don't have a crystal ball, but I would hate to see it lead to civil war. Evil might even want that, That's not what I'm trying to evoke. It's just, that's where we have an opportunity right here, right now, to potentially minimize it to getting to that extent by onboarding it. And I say to the listeners, you can show up today and go on the offense, so to speak, by sharing this message far and wide.
Exactly.
By getting it to more people. That in and of itself, you're taking action to win this war that none of us asked for, that is being waged upon us and all of our loved ones.
Yep.
And
that's what I always tell people about my videos, like and share and follow, and share my videos. My own family members don't even share them, and it's not a debatable subject. I'm not talking about conspiracy theories and stuff. I'm talking about something that literally happened to me. I was denied access to medical treatment for 30 some years, and I was gaslighted. I mean, these are proven facts. I have binders and binders of paperwork proving this. So my family should be backing me. My friends should be backing me. They should be reposting my videos to share my message, so that other people don't go through this, Right.
Exactly.
I've already gone through it. It's not going to help me any. I've already gone through it. I'm already permanently damaged for the rest of my life with neurological problems. It's not going to help me. Share my message so that your child doesn't go through this,
That's very powerful. listeners, please support this man and everything he's doing. It's a very selfless journey you are going on right now. Like, it's crazy. There's obviously more lucrative things you could be engaging your time, energy, and efforts into. But even after going through hell, you're showing up in this selfless manner. So with that being said, I want the listeners and all of us like to tune into as to how we can help you, because I do know you are still in the midst. You have grave bills. You divulged to me, and I'll say it. If I don't have your permission, I'll take it out. But you spent over $3,000. Was it last month?
May alone was 3,000. Yeah.
In May alone, in fighting Lyme disease, over $3,000 out of pocket. How many of you listeners have, and this is something you've been faced with for freaking years, can just fit that into your budget right now, on top of everything else that's happening around you? Now you got $3,000 of medical procedures and freaking medicines and protocols. It's just medical. So with that being said, I know it's real tough. And I know you're a man that has never asked for handouts. But with what you're doing, my goodness, I see it more so than getting on board and supporting a man in his recovery to save a life. It's investing in a man that is help end suffering and create solutions for others that have faced a lot of those same challenges as you. So with that being said, you have a GoFundMe now.
I finally broke. That's why I was crying a lot today, because like you said, I've literally never asked anybody for help in my life. I've always been that guy who slams on his brakes at 2:00 in the morning when somebody's broke down on the side of the road. I'm the guy that somebody calls in the middle of the night. Hey, I'm drunk. Come pick me up. I'm the guy that, hey, my roof is coming off my house. Come help me fix my roof, or come help me fix my car. Well, my roof is broken, but I still go and help them. My whole entire life. My wife always yells at me.
It could be God putting you through the refiner's fire. There might still be a little bit of ego in you that, like, hey, I'm telling you, it wasn't easy. I'm the same thing. And I even say my siblings, but the thing is, I was like, I need help. I need help. Like, we need something. And the finances of things. So they kicked off a GoFundMe for me earlier back, and it became a great blessing. Believe you me, David, we hear you. And it's not easy. It's tough. But the reality of it is, we are called as God's children to help each other out. And you didn't ask for this freaking disease. You didn't ask for these hefty bills. You got a son to raise, and you are engaging in selfless things. So you are not a bum on the street just asking for a handout at all. And I don't want you to feel that way. And I really hope and pray that the listeners can feel that and see that. I mean, vet David here. Go to the Facebook. We'll add the links. In fact, follow him. Support. Send his message out even further. And I think there's a minimum. It might be a $4 or $5 minimum for a GoFundMe, but let's minimally do that bare minimum. If you could even just $10, you know what? I'm feeling the strains of everything right now. I guarantee you'll be blessed. That you will not miss those $10. You won't. You'll get through. So what's your GoFundMe page, my bro?
I don't know it yet. My mom set it up. Can I share it with you, and then you can share it in the link?
Yes. If you can get it real quick, we can wait and plug it now and in the link. Because I don't know that everybody goes to the descriptions. David,
if you go on my page,
fight against Lyme disease, goal 30. This is all off the air, but that's a very humble amount to go for. I think we went for like 100,000 or something. Didn't even come close. But
I think the reason that we went with that was because my treatments they're going to be about 3,000 a month, and they're saying it's going to take about a year. So that's like $36,000. So, and I've already had one of them. So I think they came up with a number of 30.
All right. So for the listeners, if you go to the GoFundMe official page, search David Butler, Butler. It seems he's the second one here. You'll see him with his lovely son in the scouting uniform. Is it known as scouting?
Trail life.
Trail life. God, that's going to be a hard one for me to get past. But there's a beautiful image of David and his son. There's personal information here. For those that can't donate even the bare minimum, could you send this to like 10 people you know at minimum? Because here's a man that is already making a difference, having a positive impact. And I know David will give 100% back, 110% back as he continues with this fight. I mean, what you're doing selfless. So it's important that we support. Let's help alleviate the financial strain so he can still focus and hone in on blessing other people's lives. I feel very strongly, heck, I'm financially strapped, but I'm going to be donating to this because I know there's blessing in helping each other. I know for me, I don't have the finances to really even continue my treatments, but I'm telling you, God's making it work. And it's so beautiful. So I feel impressed. I feel called. So I'm telling you, listeners, I will be donating, and I really hope you do as well. Be sure. Is it also just David Butler if they searched on Facebook to follow your Facebook?
So yeah, it's going to be David Butler. So it's a picture of me right there.
Oh, yeah. It's the, okay. You got a cool car in the background, but it was the one where you did like a Tough Mudder.
Yeah. It says May is Lyme Disease Awareness Month. 33 years was stolen from me, and I will be the voice for others.
You're doing amazing things, David.
Thank you. You too, buddy.
I am blessed to know you and call you friend.
Definitely.
And have these chats, many more to come in the future. It feels good. I feel there's a lot of things that came of this very episode, and not just, hey, we're wackos trying to say we're not suicide. No, like to listen to intuition, open eyes, use discernment, seek the ultimate counsel. It's been a blessing to me. And I just thoroughly hope this breathes some light and bless some of our listeners. I don't know if we're going to get emotional on this clip or not, but I know we went through some heavy things. We exposed some of the darkness, and it does leave some ickiness. So I like to balance things out, and I'd like to play this clip of this man on the street ministering to this gentleman, and it is powerful. It had me emotional because you could see this man, like he was fighting off. You could tell he was thirsty, but he was fighting off accepting essentially Jesus and what it was going to change within him. But you could see it breaking through. Why am I describing it? Let's just dive in it. And then we'll wrap things up. Do you have any other burning desires before we play this, David?
No, I really appreciate you having me on. It was a hard day for me. I was doing a lot of crying, so this is really good, and I'm looking forward to this clip you're going to play.
Cool, man. Well, as much as you mentioned, you've been having a challenging one. Look at who's tripping up on the podcast today. Yeah, isn't that funny? All right. Oh, this is good. I'll be sure to add the link below for those that want to actually see this on their personal device, because it's just that good. But let's get this rocking. I hope you enjoy.
Everybody believe in God? Huh? Believe in Jesus? One of those. Got you today, bro. All right, man. How's your mind, bro? DC, bro. DC, good to meet you. Just a simple question. If tonight, God forbid, may you have long life, but if tonight you went to stand before God and God asked you this question, what did you do with the time that I give you here on earth? How would you answer him? I bullshit it, bro. To be honest, because I low-key been thinking about this shit too. But low-key, bro, I feel like the spirit been on me or some. God has been calling you. Right. There's one thing I want to tell you is this. God is not a God of coincidence. He's really calling you, bro. God is fooling you, and I know he sent me for you. And I want to tell you this. On your own strength, bro, if you try to change, you will continue to fail. But I want to tell you that whenever somebody has the Spirit of God and receives the Spirit of God, it will enable you to literally change. You will have a desire, a burning desire to preach the gospel. And I want to tell you this, bro, Jesus loves you so much. And God is calling you, and Jesus is asking you this question: how long will you continue to run away from the call? God wants you to come here as a light, to make a difference in this world. Look, there's one thing. Don't be afraid to be different. Be more afraid that you may be like everybody else. That's fearing, because the Bible says the majority go to hell. And you know there's more people in hell repenting this night than there is people on this earth. But down there, they don't get second chance. Right. You have a chance. There's air in your lungs, bro. You have a chance to receive Jesus. You have a chance to repent and give Jesus your all. He died for you. Jesus gave it all up for you. Why can't you give it all up for him? Because, bro, look, I got to see it to believe it, bro. Yeah. I'm not going to say I don't believe in no higher power or none of that shit, bro. But at the end of the day, Sam, how I feel, bro, how? If you can't see it, how you gonna believe something though, bro? And I'm not no atheist. I'm not none of that. If I can do it, you can do it too. Now, I want to tell you this. When I was 17, I was reading my Bible. I was just reading it. And I had an open vision. I saw a blind man far away from me, but every step that blind man took came a mile closer to me. Everything was dark, bro. I couldn't speak. I couldn't move. I was paralyzed. Yeah. And he came close to me, and it got to a point where he was like this in front of me. I wanted to ask a question. Who are you? Who are you? That I heard a voice in me. And now I know it's the Holy Spirit. You know what that voice said? This is Jesus Christ, the one that you've been seeking. And the Bible says, seek, and you will what? You will find. You can't even trust to plant seeds of doubt, telling you, just live long. God is not real. Why hasn't he answered your prayers? Why can't you hear him? Why can't you experience him? And I want to tell you this, seek and you will find. Jesus is using me. This is a sign. He's calling you to himself. And Jesus is telling you, receive me before time runs out. Jesus is coming back soon. Yeah. And if you don't receive him and open up your heart and receive the call, the invitation of Jesus, when that trumpet blows and Jesus comes and returns for his bride, and you stay here, you're going to remember this moment. You're going to say, why did I not listen to the man of God that Jesus sent me? So I want to ask you this question. Do you want to give Jesus a chance, bro? This is the thing.
Oh my gosh, you hear his did you come closer to hear it?
Yeah. And I knocked my thing over by accident.
Oh, nice. It's not over yet. I'm going to continue. But his grunt right there, you could see the resistance. You could see essentially like the pride and everything was like, no. And then that, like, I can only speak from my experience and from how my selfish living before. There was this reluctancy. There was this, like he's just asking him again to accept Jesus. And there's just this, because you know what that means. That means like, I don't want to give up my sin. I don't want to give up my addictions. I don't want to give up my sexual like desires. And it's all me, I, my. And what is wild, it's a tough pursuit. It's a tough thing because you don't know what you don't know. If you haven't felt that love from our Creator to that level yet, then you don't know what you're missing. And it is worth giving all of the me, I, my up for his love and his guidance, his everything, because it is unfathomably better than the me, I, my could ever have. It's just this beautiful moment. All right. With that being said, I'm going to finish this. It's good. He's breaking through and this man starts tearing up. It's good.
The thing, you receiving Jesus is your part. God doing his work in you It's his part. But you just have to have an open heart. Your life doesn't have to be like this. I'm not preaching a God who I've never experienced. I'm telling you that God is real. God wants to touch your heart. God wants to live in you. And God wants to show you the way out, bro. You hear me? And I want to tell you, God loves you no matter what you've done in the past. Look, God, he took your place as a sin in the cross so he can wash all that sin away. You're not condemned, bro, if you can believe Jesus. God wants you to feel him. God is looking for people like you because he can get a testimony out of you. God wants to use you, bro. He wants you to be different. He wants to save your soul. He wants to show you your purpose. There is more to this life. But without Jesus, you will continue to allow the enemy to have you, to control you, to lead you, to govern over your heart. But God is saying, you're my creation. I know how to fix you. Your mother can't fix you. Your father can't fix you. Your girlfriend can't fix you. Your family can't fix you. If God created you, he knows how to fix you, bro.
Wow.
You want to accept Jesus, bro?
Yes.
I love you, bro. I love you, bro. Hey, you're making the best decision you've ever done. And I want to tell you, It's not going to be easy.
Right.
But Jesus is going to make a way for you. Put your number here, bro. Give me your numbers. I'm going to stay connected with you. You're my friend. You're my brother. We're going to grow together. And I want to tell you that the Bible says, a righteous man falleth 7 times. So you're not going to be perfect.
Right.
But you got to remain firm. Submit to God. The devil will still try to oppress you.
Right.
But he can't win if you submit it to God. The Bible says after that, he will flee. I'm going to teach you, bro. I'm going to stay connected. I love you, bro, from all my heart. All right, bro.
God bless you all. I pray God can reveal himself to you, but you have to seek him and open your heart to him. Hey, freaking man, let's go. That's beautiful. That's where the shift happens. You get all the strength you could ever even desire because the shift happens. You now value spiritual life and death over our mortal life and death. You realize that we were put here to experience just a mortal bleep in time. And I believe personally, the purpose of it all, yes, there's a lot of life lessons and learning and learning about ourselves, but it does boil down to choosing who you want your father to be, whether it's Satan and all he promises you, or God and all he promises you. And if you haven't really sought that out and you just want to claim atheist because whatever evidence you are manipulating to, I don't know, believe some lies, don't rule it out. That's the greatest human character defect is Mr. Know-it-all syndrome. You got to experience it for yourself. And the real evidence supports there is a God. The real evidence supports Jesus is our Savior. Who else came in the flesh, spoke what he spoke, did what he did, died on a cross, resurrected? It's beautiful. I never really fully understood it. I don't even fully understand it to this day, to be honest. But the more I seek that understanding, like even speaking out on it in this moment, like there's just this feeling of like confirmation, and it's a good freaking feeling. And I do not fear. I guess that's the best way to wrap this up, David. I didn't come on here out of fear as to what the globalists could do to me. I came on here to just point some of the facts, and if something were to take place, let it be proof to you so you could come to the light, to any individual. That's the point. That's what it's about.
I couldn't have said it any better, honestly.
I say some of the words, sometimes I fight for them, and sometimes they tend to just flow. And I mean, all glory to God, man. I'm grateful. I am genuinely grateful for this opportunity we all have right now. And I just hope, more of us can get on board. I don't even know why I'm feeling emotional now, but so we're going to have to get short. But it's a beautiful time. It's crazy to to have that feeling of being exactly where you're supposed to be, doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And I just hope we can onboard more people to seek all of this so we can build up the proper community to ease the burdens. David's burden. This amazing father showing up on the front lines on behalf of Lyme patients, exposing a lot of the evil, trying to secure a future for your freaking children. We gotta create that proper support structure, because it is, as he said, like, the devil's not going to give up easily. He's going to continue to pursue us all. And the more we can support and lift each other up, less challenging it's going to become. We're going to decrease the odds of like more like people actual falling. We're going to attract, through leading through example, others that just see that light and they are inquisitive, want to inquire about it. And, you know, seeds get planted, they water them, and they grow. Anyway, any last things you'd like to say, David? We've ran almost 2 hours, but there's a lot of cleanup, so it should be a good episode.
All I want to say is thank you to everybody, and thanks for, you know, having me back on. Thanks for, you know, keep pushing. You've pushed me. I know I've pushed you, and you've pushed me to keep going. We push each other, and you've been a big inspiration to me, and you've actually brought me back to Christ a lot more. I've always been a Christian, but I mean, everything you speak and talk about has brought me closer, because being really, really ill, I started to, you know, get very angry with God. And I'm sure, right, and I've been told that's very normal, but, you know, right, it did bring me back closer. And the only other last thing is, when are we doing our third podcast?
Let's do it. Let's do it again soon,
mental health and
David.
suicide. Let's help some people.
Well, I challenge you to give it over to God, David. He can shoulder it all of it. He can shoulder all of it. Just give it to him. Speak that out. Just have frank conversation. You could tell him you're frustrated. All these frustrations, all these things. He will coddle you. And whether you need to hear this or someone else, he's got you. Everyone else in this life will let you down. Guaranteed. To one extent or another, I will fail you. I'm a flawed man in this state. Our Creator will not. And it's interesting how, to our detriment, evil whispers in the ear and has that effect to where we blame God. How could you? But he had to give us our free agency here. He had to allow sin. He had to allow all the horrifics, everything. But he gave us the light. He showed us what we could accomplish through Jesus. And it's tough. I get it. It can be easy to hate God, but that is to our detriment. But he can burden it all. And that solely has been, once again, my greatest blessing. The biggest advances I've had from even Lyme disease and everything to this day has been that relation above it all. I mean, after all, he is not just the ultimate healer. I mean, he created it all. So, bro, he's got us, bro. Like he said, he can fix us.
So going back to the music and how I sing a lot of secular stuff, going on what you just said on, we have to feel this and stuff. I'm pulling it up right now. So 50 Cent, you know, the rapper, I mean, so you could use him as to explain exactly what you just said, but the way he words it in his rap is, sunny days wouldn't be so special if it wasn't for rain. Joy wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for pain. So what he's saying is exactly what you're saying. Like, because God allows us, it builds us even stronger.
Right. We have the choice. Right. All right. This is beautiful. I think let's wrap this up, and I hope to have you on here real soon, David. So we'll stay in communication, brother. but thank you so much for soldiering up and showing up. I needed this. So I'm grateful, right? And I hope that you walk away like, you know what? This was a good thing too. This was time well spent. But even most importantly, I hope that and pray that this comes across the right ears that also needed this message in their life today. So that being said, guys, thank you so much for joining us here on Unmuzzled Chat and supporting us. Be sure to check out David's Facebook page, follow him. Go to check out David Butler on GoFundMe. Any amount would be awesome. Let's try to blow that up. Share that far and wide. Let's have a positive impact. Oh, that would just feel so good, right? Forget about the affiliations. This is a charitable Unmuzzled Chat. Even though David did ask about the Unmuzzled shirt, anyone wants to get one of those too and start, that's just a way of representing what we're doing here and would help bring more people to this very episode. But God bless you. Thank you so much for your time. Till next time.